Little Pawpaw Eddie here, as my granddaughter calls me, because she calls both of her granddaddies Pawpaw, so that's how she distinguishes us. Anyway, I have a new project for my little darlings. Of course, I'm referring to my two grandkids, 16 years old, Riley and Zelda. And now I may also have a little bit of participation in the older grandson. He's fixing to be 21, but he did show some interest. So the way I do these projects, especially, this is a computer again, I'm working on computers. I don't force them to do anything. You know, if they would like for me to teach them, then I'm more than willing. If they are not that interested in it, then I'm not going to force them to do anything. So, let me tell you about this little project. Oh, this is a good one. Now, my grandkids have been after me for 2 or 3 years about, you know, they're gamers. So they want their computer, excuse me, they want their computer to be fast. Real fast. Well, it was really not possible until recently when manufacturers started putting a M2 socket on the motherboard. Now, what makes it faster, and the reason I decided to do this project, now this is just a standard wire that hooks a hard drive to a motherboard. Now, the M2 socket, this is a 2 terabyte solid state hard drive. Okay? Now, when I put that on the motherboard, there's no hesitation. It goes straight in, just wide open to peanut butter. Now, you can also get 2 terabyte standard hard drives, even solid state. That hooks to a wire. But as you can see, that's going to bottleneck it. It's going to slow it down. So, because they did come up with a M2 slot, and I thought, well, maybe I'll build one. But now it's very expensive, so here is what we got. Okay, the tower is Antec 300. Motherboard right here. That's the important thing with all the slots and stuff on it. It's the Asus Turf B450 Pro Gaming AM4. Now AM4 is a new slot. And of course it's the ATX motherboard. But we're going to be getting into that in just a little bit. Now, the CPU we're going to be running on there is a Razer 7 2700 8-core. It idles at 3.2 gigahertz. Wide open in the wind, you can get 4.1 gigahertz out of it. Now the gigahertz is how fast it will actually process stuff. Let me explain to you. This is it. Very, very expensive. The best way to explain that to you guys that don't know, a CPU is the engine of your computer, and they used to just be singular, but they got them so advanced that there's no way you could put the speed into them that they need to keep up with modern day technology. So now then, you're still using one CPU, or it looks like one, but it's actually got 8 of them in there. So it just keeps clocking after it runs out of speed on one, it goes to the next and to the next until it gets 8. But very, very fast. Okay, now, also CPU builds up tremendous amount of heat. So, and of course, I looked at the fan. It comes with this. It's inside that box, and it don't look too bad. However, I've always liked the aftermarket, especially when I'm going with something that's expensive. So, I'm going to be putting this in there on top of the CPU. Now, that's a deep cool gaming with a 120 millimeter fan on it, which means it'll cool it off much quicker than your standard. Alright, the RAM we're going to use is G-Skill. Yeah. G-Skill. Now these are, I'm going to put 4 in there. There's 2 in this box and 2 in another box up in there. But the G-Skill is 16 gigabytes each, and I'm going to put 4, so we're going to have 64 megahertz of RAM in that baby. Now, the hard drive, again, I showed it to you. This is your hard drive, solid state. Comes in a little box like that. Costs you $359 for that. But that's the hard drive we're going to use. I'm also going to put a second hard drive because this is going to be my main computer. And my second hard drive now is going to be a standard 7200 RPM hard drive. And I'll be using a wire like this to hook it up. But I'll use it for storage. I won't be using it for access. I'll have that solid state one for that. Now, one of the most expensive things, the video card. Okay, I'm going to be putting a MSI GeForce RTX 2070 gaming with 8 gigabytes of RAM on board, running at 256 bits. Okay, now, have any idea how much that darling costs? $600. This is it. I haven't even taken it out of the box yet. Now, also, this is a Wi-Fi card, which I'm also going to be putting in there. And I got, right back there, I've got a EVGA 1300 watt power supply. With 1300 watt, you can just about power a house. But anything I decide to add to or whatever, it'll be able to handle it. Now, in the tower itself, which I've already got installed, and I guess I could turn it around, turn the camera around so you could maybe see it. Maybe. Okay. Now I've already installed the card reader. Okay. And this is a NZXT. It's the best I've found. But this is it at its top. Now what this is for, you know, your camera has cards in it. It stores photos and stuff like that. If you're a hunter, you got trail cams and stuff like that too. But that's what this is for. You just take the card, stick it in there, read it on your computer, and store it on your hard drive. Real easy. Alright, also, I got 2 DVD players here. This one is your standard. This is a Asus. Just your standard DVD player. This one is LG, but it's a Blu-ray. And I did that so that I can watch movies on it, should I so desire. Now then, all this hardware that I just showed you, that is $2,600 worth of hardware. And then in addition to that, the software I'm going to put on it is going to be Windows 10 Pro 64-bit, Windows Office, as well as Power DVD. The Power DVD is so I can see the movies off of the Blu-ray. But that's another $470. So totally I'm going to have $3,070 in this bad boy. Now, let me reposition my camera. I'll cut it off and reposition it so we can see the motherboard a little better. I'll be right back. Okay, next thing I want to show you, you have got to hook the tower up to the motherboard to make everything work. This is how you do it. Now, something else I'll show you right here. This is a book that come with the last one I built, and it's got just anything you want. It should be in there. That book's 150 pages long. Okay. Now this brand new high-tech motherboard I just bought. This is what comes with it. You see how thin that is? That's 28 pages. So, to say the least, you're not going to get everything you need. This is something I didn't get. So now it took me 2 hours or better to find it. But this is how you hook the tower to your motherboard. And that's the reason I'm leaving it sitting there, so that you can see it for a minute. You can always pause it, the movie, and write that stuff down. But that socket right here where it hooks to the motherboard now is right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. No. Okay. Alright, well let me move this out of the way. And I'll bring it around and show you the motherboard and stuff. Okay. Now, right here is your M2 socket where your hard drive actually goes. There's actually two there. Right here is your second one. Now, don't think because there's two M2 sockets that you can throw two terabyte hard drives in there. That's what I thought. That's wrong. See, the motherboard is advertised that it's got a built-in video card, and it don't. It's set up for one, and the best I can make out after all my reading, and I read face just about, is that this chip right here can also be used for a video card. So you can buy a video card, put it in that chip, bolt it down, and then you can put your hard drive in this chip. Now, the reason is you cannot put hard drive here and here, which is what I had intended on doing, is because when you use both of these two chips up, then you eliminate these two. They're out of the picture. Well, guess what? Right here is where your video card goes. That $600 video card I got. So therefore I can't use this one right here. Also, you might wonder why. Now these are the hookups that goes to your motherboard. You can just take this and just stick it like that, and you can hook it into whatever you want to, your DVD, your hard drive, whatever. Now if you'll notice, there's actually two here. Also, I discovered while I was reading, this one right here equals the M2 here. And I'm going to put a chip here. So that's going to eliminate this one. And so my second hard drive that I put in there, I'm going to have to use this one for the second one. This one is going to be no good because it's going to be eliminated. Okay. Now then. Let me explain to you. First of all, when you get your motherboard, these three areas is where your chip will bolt down to your motherboard, because the chips come in different lengths depending on what you get. So I've already tried to see which one it goes in. I've got mine. That's one I'm going to use, and this is my backup. But the hardware is so small that you don't want to try to store it somewhere thinking, well, if I need it, I can get it. Yeah, no, you'll never find it. It is small, small, small. So I just went ahead and put mine right here. But what you do is you screw it in just like you do a stud in your computer to mount your motherboard. And you're going to be using 3/16 wrench. Yep, 3/16 wrench to tighten it down. Now, it's going to be easy to strip it. So what you do is you put your wrench on it and you just snug it. You don't even put a lot of pressure on it. Now then, you take your hard drive and you'll see that it's got one cutout, so you'll know where it goes. Well, on this side you can see where the cutout goes in. So now you'll take that hard drive and you'll take it and you'll stick it in your board at a 30% angle. Then you'll wiggle it in there. Once you wiggle it in, see, if you let go of it, it'll stand up like that. So then you push it down and you put your bolt in it right here to hold that down, and you'll be there. Now let me make one other suggestion to you. When I first started this project, of course I've been waiting on parts for a long time. I didn't have a Phillips screwdriver small enough with a magnet on the tip. I bought these from Amazon, and believe me, you need them. Now you see where that little old bitty tiny screw's on the tip? You're gonna need it. But we'll see if we can't get this screw in here. Push it down, hold it. Screw it down. Okay. So now then, I got my hard drive, my solid state hard drive, 2 terabytes on there. So the next thing that I'm going to do is to install the mounts for my fan that's going to cover my CPU. Here's where the CPU goes. But no, you don't put it on there yet. You take a chance of tearing it up. So the next thing I'm going to do is to tear in that box, get everything out, and I'm going to put the mounts for that aftermarket cooler. And so I'll be back just as soon as I do that.